Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, America's #1 trusted resource for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Starring award-winning real estate coaches Tim and Julie Harris. Get ready for unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what is truly working to get you into action and make you money in this new real estate boom. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris. And welcome back, everyone. We are joined today by Andy Woolley, the Vice President and General Manager of Homes.com, to discuss their success as one of the largest listing portals in online real estate and some of the ways that his organization is working towards transforming the real estate industry in the 21st century. Woolley is a 16-year veteran of the real estate technology industry and led the development and release of Homes.com's Homes Connect platform in 2011. A highly successful integrated marketing platform used by some of real estate's biggest brands. Now, let's welcome Andy to the call and join our host, Tim Harris.
So, Andy, thanks again for being my co-host on today's radio show. We always like to enjoy speaking to industry leaders like you because, you know, assuming that the interview goes well, we always have some really interesting conversations. And one of the things that, frankly, your company, you guys are going to have a perspective on the industry about what's coming next based on search data and all that. And hopefully, I know we're working off some questions, but hopefully we can kind of dig deep into maybe some projections or some expectations or even predictions you guys have for 2015. So listeners, who knows what's going to happen on today's interview, so make sure you're taking great notes. But let's start with the basics. Where did Homes.com originate? Can you tell us a little bit about the background of the company, where it started, how it grew, all that good stuff?
Sure, Tim, I'd love to. And first of all, I really appreciate you inviting us on today, and I look forward to talking to you about Homes.com and about the industry. We've been in the business now for about 40 years. I'm sure most of your listeners are probably familiar with the Homes and Land magazine, and that's how we started, and that traces back all the way to 1973. That was our first print publication, and that was, of course, a local publication that agents could advertise their listings and their brand, and we would print those magazines for local areas and distribute them in grocery stores and convenience stores and whatnot. And in 1993, we launched Homes.com really originally as a digital extension of the Homes and Land publication. And back then, we were one of the first real estate search websites. And over the next 10 years, as the internet expanded, the online version of Homes.com continued expanding and really got to the point where the online audience eventually exceeded the readership of the magazine. So, you know, as we grew, the business grew largely through acquisition from about 2000 to 2006. We acquired some real well-known real estate technology brands like Advanced Access and eNeighborhoods. And eventually we reached a point in 2008 where printing the magazines no longer really made sense for our business. And so we divested of those publications, and we've been able to do a much better job generating leads and results and better ROI through the online services than we were through the magazine. So what's been consistent over those 40 years is that our business model hasn't really changed much at all. We're still in the business of matching home buyers and sellers with real estate professionals. That's our primary objective, but now we're focused on doing that digitally, online, and through social media instead of with the magazines.
So in the marketplace, who are your biggest competitors? I mean, I know we're skipping around question-wise, but who would be your biggest competitors in the marketplace when realtors? Because you guys have an interesting, you know, honestly, I hate to admit it, but I didn't realize you guys were Homes and Land magazine originally. I didn't know that, so that's good information to have. Anyone that's been in the business for a long time will remember Homes and Land because, I mean, at its peak, how many magazines were you guys publishing per month?
Oh gosh, well, you know, I don't really date back that far, but back to '73. But you know, I'd say it was in at least 70 local markets. So, and in some markets we printed multiple publications if it was a big enough city.
Yeah, I remember in Columbus where Julie and I sold real estate, I think you guys did have a higher end and like a Homes and Land, and there's like a Homes and Estates or something like that. So as far as like in terms of like digital information in terms of search and all that type of thing, who are your nearest competitors in terms of what you guys offer? Just so our listeners can say, okay, now I understand more about what these guys do, and then maybe they'll jump on your website and find out maybe if you guys are a viable alternative to what they're doing now, or maybe in addition to what they're doing now.
Well, if you look at the top 5 real estate search websites nationally, certainly you have Homes.com, you have Zillow, you have Trulia, you have Realtor.com. We all kind of have our own niche, the way we go about things. I think Homes.com, the way we kind of differentiate ourselves. First of all, we have about 12 million unique visitors on average every month, so we have a tremendous amount of traffic that comes to Homes.com. Consumers, 90% of those consumers have not yet selected a real estate professional to work with. So it's a great audience to target, and 80% of those are interested in transacting in the next 12 months. So you've got a real solid demographic to target, not just a bunch of people looking up, information about what their neighbor's house may have sold for or anything like that. These are transaction-ready people ready to engage in transactions, and a great demographic to target.
So I have to assume that, a good percent, maybe 30%, maybe depending on the market, as high as 50% of the folks that are showing up on Homes.com as buyers looking for homes also are going to have properties to sell. How do you guys differentiate that? Are you able to kind of pull? Are you focused primarily on the buying into transactions? Or are you guys migrating at all to try to look for sellers as well?
A larger percentage of our audience are buyers, but we do have sellers, and we have great content for sellers. You can go on and put in the address of your house and look at a potential value range that your property might sell for, and in the context of that process, we're constantly trying to match that consumer up with one of our advertisers. So, we're not just providing content to provide content, but we always have our primary objective in mind, which is to match that consumer up with a local professional.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, very good. By the way, do you see any of the portals, including yourself, if you consider yourself a portal? I mean, it sounds like what you guys are. Do you see there being a interest from agents more towards the selling into things, or are they still primarily focused on wanting to attract buyers?
The primary focus is still on attracting buyers. There's no question about it. But we offer. In fact, we just had a product meeting the other day where we were sitting down trying to figure out how we could better expose our advertisers on the home value pages. We're not in the business just to provide content for providing content. We're providing content always within the context of our objective, which is to match buyers and sellers with local professionals. So, I'd say the majority of the business that agents are receiving off of a website like Homes.com is buyer-related, but we're always looking for ways of increasing the seller side as well.
Well, so it also makes sense that agents are asking those buyers that they're getting, the buyer leads they're getting from you guys, they should be drilling down a little bit deeper, making sure those buyers aren't really also sellers. I mean, I would think that there has to be further conversations from the agent perspective, because statistically we know a good percent of the people that are buyers also have properties to sell, again, depending on the marketplace and the price point and all that good stuff. So you guys, all your listeners or all your subscribers and all of our listeners, make sure you guys are using scripts that are going to really get to the essence of what is the seller's objective. Because, they might want to buy a house, but they have a house to sell first. And our focus is primarily on teaching agents how to be great listing agents, because ultimately that's the way an agent really moves their business forward. So did I read correctly? You guys have 12 million. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's a great. Sorry to interrupt, but that's a great point. And I think another thing to mention there is most of the time the audience that's coming to a site like Homes.com, they're very early in the process. So we're very far upstream where people have not made a decision yet on exactly where they want to live or whether or not they're ready to sell their property if they need to buy another one. Most importantly, they most times have not selected a real estate professional yet. So when you're getting inquiries from a site like Homes.com, you're capturing them very early in the process, right? And, at times there is a certain amount of anonymity that consumers still want when they're early in the process, which is why we have, tools like our question and answer forum where consumers can collaborate with agents without getting to the point where they're making phone calls and whatnot yet. But there is a specific way to work these types of inquiries because they are earlier in the process. So, our goal is to drive them through that process down to a local professional, whether it be engaging with that local professional's personal website or their social profile pages or whatnot. But they are earlier in the process than if they were to visit like a franchise site or a broker site or an agent site.
Well, so you said something now 4 times. I'm going to ask you to drill down on it because I can see that it's something that you guys are really focused on. You're not trying to provide information for the sake of providing information. You're trying to generate leads for your subscribers. That's what I'm hearing you say, and that's a really key differentiator, I'm guessing, how you guys position yourselves, or how at least the industry should recognize how you're different, is that you guys are really trying to focus on generating that lead so you can provide value to your subscriber. How are you doing that differently than, say, your competitors?
Well, I think we provide better exposure with less confusion, and what I mean by that is we have different ways that agents can promote either their listings or their brand on Homes.com. The most common way is a lot of agents choose to enhance their listings so that they show higher in the search results and they're branded differently than the free listings. And whenever we do that, we never display competitive advertising on a detail page. So as an agent, if your listings are on Homes.com, when a consumer drills down to the detail page of your listing, there's no confusing advertising that's displayed. There's no other agents that are hijacking your listing trying to generate leads.
All of our listeners, Andy, know what you're referring to. They all are familiar with what you're talking about, and they all hate the companies that do exactly what you're saying. So you're speaking to the choir right now.
Yeah, so I think that's an important element of our business model, is that being in the business for 40 years, I think we have a lot of knowledge of what our partners expect out of us, and we try to do the best job we can to kind of guide the consumer through that early stages of that process and help them find the right professional to work with. Not necessarily 20 different professionals, but the right professional that can service their needs. So confusing, advertising, no misrepresentation or anything like that. Trying to pair people up with a specific local professional.
So it's worth mentioning, too, and I think we need to really make this clear, that, yes, you guys are sort of the top of the funnel. You guys are engaging with consumers when they're maybe at the beginning or towards the beginning of the buying or maybe even selling process. But agents listening, we know statistically, and we've studied this internally amongst all of our top students, and, you guys have probably read this. National Association of Realtors comes out with reports that really, I think, make this even more valid of a point. But lots of times folks will work with the first agent that they meet. You guys are wondering how that new realtor in your office keeps on, selling houses even though they don't even have the real estate license. The ink on it's not even dry yet. But the reality of it is because they were in front of the prospective buyer or maybe even seller before you were. And we know statistically that most consumers don't really take the time to differentiate one realtor from another, and they work with the first realtor that they meet. They literally, if they meet some agent in an open house 6 months, ago, they're probably still connected with that agent, even though we know that they'll come in contact with potentially dozens of other agents. They have a tendency to stay loyal to the first agent that they meet. Guys, that and lead follow-up are 2 critical things I hope you never forget. So, yes, Homes.com is upstream. But if you make a connection with those folks, and I'm not just talking about putting them into a drip email system and but a phone call that leads to a pre-qualification, helps them along their way, gets them talking with the loan officer. If they have a house to sell, get that conversation started. They will stick with you. Again, don't rely on a drip system. I'm sure you guys have a phenomenal one, but nothing will ever replace a phone call. The more technology becomes the more you guys think technology is going to replace that direct human contact, the less money you're going to make. There's just no 2 ways about that. So I'm kind of curious your take on the whole Zulia, News Corp, Rupert Murdoch, this whole big, I don't even know what you want to call it. What are those Japanese movies where there's those 2 dinosaurs that were always fighting each other? It's kind of the visualization I just had pop in my head. What's your take on all that from your perspective?
Well, I think it's a positive sign in terms of the optimism that it shows for the space in general. The success that agents are having shifting their advertising dollars online, right? I mean, Zillow's essentially betting $3.5 billion that that there's value in expanding their network to include Trulia. And likewise, News Corp's betting close to $1 billion at expanding their network to include Realtor.com. So, I think these are extremely positive signs that spending in online real estate advertising will continue to increase. And it's increasing because there is measurable results being driven from it. So, that's positive. We're very bullish on our position, right? 40 years in the business, very strong franchise partnerships, very strong MLS partnerships, great industry relations. We have a deep expertise in servicing our advertisers and delivering results. So, we're not facing any of the challenges that these other companies are facing in terms of trying to merge their companies together or trying to secure FTC approval for their mergers. So, there's a lot of challenges that come with merging operations and cultures, and that can be a tremendous distraction from innovation and servicing your customers. So, I think we're bullish, and we're fortunate that 100% of our attention can be focused on serving the real estate professionals and our business partners.
Are you guys subscribers to ListHub?
Yes.
You guys ListHub clients? So do you think it's possible, I know this is a quite crazy question seemingly, but do you think it's possible that now that News Corp controls Move.com, which controls ListHub, do you think it's possible that they cut off the listings feed to the other portals aside from Realtor.com?
I think it's possible, and depending on which way you look at it, it may or may not make business sense for them. But let's keep in mind that they invested a lot of money in this acquisition, and it hasn't been that long, right? So they've put a lot of money behind that. They have a business model that's built around providing metrics back to agents and brokers through a reporting service, and that business model depends on continuing to provide the syndication services. So, is it possible? I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. We don't rely exclusively on ListHub. They are a great partner for us, but we also have a very broad outreach program to generate direct relationships with MLSs. We have about 400 MLSs that provide us listing data to display on Homes.com, and that's something that will continue expanding. So, we use ListHub, and they're a great partner, and we also develop direct relationships with MLSs because MLSs have the highest quality data, and it's the best source for updating the listings that are displayed on Homes.com.
You guys have the advantage of being in the space literally longer than everyone else by not a matter of years, but a matter of decades. So you guys have long-standing relationships in the industry that these other guys could only dream of having. So, yeah, regardless of the politics that go on amongst these big companies, at the end of the day, those MLSs all across the country who have got those relationships with you guys are going to keep them because their members are happy with the services they're getting from you guys. It makes total sense. And I really appreciate the fact that you drilled down on the Homes.com is focused on really, you guys are really clear that your customer is the real estate agent. And I know a lot of these other companies, they're sort of like, we're here a consumer company or an advertising company or this or that. You are very focused on providing the best value for your subscribers. And oddly enough, I think that's kind of a unique position in the marketplace amongst all these different portals that agents have a choice of where to spend their marketing dollars. So with regards to that, I'm an agent. I'm out in Midwest or wherever I am. How do I engage with you? What would be like, for example, the best bang for my buck becoming a subscriber for Homes.com?
Well, first step, every agent should, if they don't already, should have a Homes.com profile. That's free. You go to Homes.com, you click sign up, and you create your profile, and you specify what zip codes you're targeting or cities you're targeting. And what that does is it creates a presence for you on Homes.com. So, for instance, if agents are searching our local professional directory, they can connect with you. They can view that you have a page that has, all of your listings are displayed on your page, your phone number, your picture, your logo, all of that information. All that's free, and you can solicit endorsements. You can participate in the question and answer forum. So when consumers are still in kind of that phase where they want to be anonymous, they'll ask questions on Homes.com about specific areas or about the process of selling or buying. And all of those questions are emailed out to everybody that has Homes.com profiles in that area. And the agents can answer questions and kind of demonstrate their expertise and start to collaborate and develop the relationships with those consumers. So that's the first step. Create a Homes.com profile. Second step is make sure your listings are displayed on Homes.com. We offer the majority of the listings displayed on Homes.com are displayed for free. It's free advertising, right? If 30 years ago a newspaper offered free classified advertising in the real estate section, I'm pretty sure 100% of the realtors would jump on it. So, there's a lot of debate about whether the pros and cons of syndication and whatnot, but let's boil it down to the fact that you can display your listings for free, you can advertise your listings for free on Homes.com. So make sure if your MLS
Andy,
isn't current. Yeah.
And let me drill. You said something earlier, and so our listeners are really. We talk about this all the time, and yeah, you're right. You know of all the soft targets with regards to the syndication and all that. But you said something earlier that I want my listeners to really understand. Free advertising, and the leads go to them. Right. You're not sending in your listing to XYZ portal just to have them essentially sell your leads to some other agent who's trying to act like they're the listing agent because of how the page is designed. I mean, are we on the same page here?
Yeah, every agent should have an in-depth understanding of the display practices and the advertising policies of everywhere their listings are being displayed.
Agreed.
To really understand what is the value exchange here, right? Because free. If free means your listing's being hijacked and your competitors are advertising on it, and you're not getting any benefit out of that, well, then there's a cost to that, and it's not really free.
It's definitely not free.
In our case, and I know, and not just in our case, but in other sites as well. In our case, we display the listing for free. Every listing, whether it's free or paid, has a lead capture form on it. That lead capture form, the information that's gathered from that form, always is sent to the listing agent. So it's whether or not other people are paid advertisers in that area and receiving the lead, you always get a copy of your lead. If it goes to somebody else, we're very transparent about anybody else that we send it to so that you can connect with that buyers interested in the property. So and you're represented on your listing. Whether it's free or paid, you are represented clearly as the person that's listing that property with your picture if you've loaded your picture, your phone number. It's very clear and obvious how the consumer can contact you.
Well, let me jump in here. Andy, help me understand here, okay? Because obviously what we were describing now is what all listing agents want. It's very understandable. It's very transparent. There's no monkey business. There's no confusion. There's no explain to your seller when they go look their house up on Zillow why your face isn't there and why there's all that crap is gone. Why is it that the other portals don't have a similar, call it what you will, policy? Why is it that they're not doing what you guys are doing? Because clearly the way you're doing it is the way it should be done.
Well, I don't sit in their meetings and I can't answer how they make decisions, but I will say there's a lot of money in that, right? And there's been a backlash, but the backlash hasn't been strong enough to force them to do something differently. So
do you think that'll change?
Case, if you had asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have said, yeah, it'll change within the next 6 months, but it's still ongoing. So, but these are public companies that have to answer to shareholders and have to generate very strong growth. We're fortunate in that we're privately held. We're a more conservative company, and we're in it for the long haul, and we don't need to produce significant quarter-over-quarter gains. We can do what's right for the industry and do what's right for our customers long term. So.
Absolutely. And so Homes.com, tell us the local pros directory. Let them know a little bit about what the local pros directory is.
So that's basically what I just described. When you create a Homes.com profile for free, you're included then in the local pros directory. And then extending from those free options, we have, of course, our paid services, which include, at the very basic level, you can sign up for a Homes.com Pro subscription, which enhances all your listings and provides some additional branding opportunities on your listings. One thing new that it provides is every enhanced listing now has a listing video attached to it, and we're seeing tremendous engagement with those listing videos. So the listings that have listing videos get viewed more times than listings that don't have videos. And in fact, I think last month every listing video that we had, on average, every listing video was viewed 3 times. So That's a tremendous new tool that's creating engagement for paid listings. We also offer, and I think this is what you're getting to with your question, but we also offer a local ads program where where you can, if you're working specific zip codes or a specific farm area, you can target that's buyers in that specific area. So not on the detail page, because we don't display competitive advertising on the detail page, but on the search results page, where you're looking at, you do a search and you're looking at 15 listings, we'll display, it doesn't even look like an advertisement. It looks basically like, here's a local expert and that focuses on this zip code that can help you with any questions that you have. And what's great about that product is you don't have to buy an entire zip code. Whatever your budget is, you can participate in that program. You deal with one of our marketing consultants. You tell them the zip codes that you're trying to target. And in the old days with our magazines, if you wanted to advertise in the magazine, you had to buy the publication that went to the entire city, whether you worked the whole city or not. Now, with digital advertising, you can geo-target specific zip codes, and depending on your budget, you can choose whether you want to. I want to buy 10% of that zip code all the way up to 100% of that zip code. So now, as buyers are searching for properties in that zip code, your brand and your message and your picture and your phone number is exposed to those buyers, and they can make the connections with you.
So do you guys, let's talk about the idea. A lot of agents are trying to understand basically the cost of leads from the big portals has gone through the roof. You, I'm sure, hear this all the time from your users that, what they're paying Zillow and Trulia and all these other types of things. And I would, maybe even be as bold as to say with this whole merger of Zillow and Trulia and News Corp getting in, temporarily the cost per leads from those two big guys might go down, but it's definitely going to increase. There's never been a time in history when less competition has equaled lower prices. But when you're having a new subscriber trying to value you guys versus one of the bigger portals, do you guys use cost per lead, or how does an agent go about valuing one over the other? I personally can see the value in what you're doing because honestly, you guys seem to be doing a more honest job representing the agent than, say, for example, one of the big portals do. You guys are doing what's best for the listing agent. You're not, you're understanding that your customer at the end of the day is the listing agent. I appreciate everything you've had to say. But so for agents who are really trying to drill down on their 2015 marketing budgets and they're looking at cost per lead and they're looking at cost per sale, what information can you give them as far as how to put that information in the hopper for Homes.com?
Well, we sell the advertising products based exposure, not specifically on a cost per lead. And
right.
The reason we do that is there's a lot of elements of advertising. It's branding. It's and the result of your advertising doesn't always come in terms of a digital lead being submitted, right? Oftentimes it does, but there's also phone calls that are generated, or there's general lift that it provides to your brand overall. So whether it's more traffic to your own personal website, or better opportunities when you're contacting prospects because now they recognize your brand. There's a lot of different benefits that come off of advertising. The most obvious one is leads, right? But you really have to start getting into the quality of those leads, right? And quality is highly subjective. But if you look at independent research as a barometer, there was a study conducted. You probably read this study. It was a study conducted by Real Trends, their online performance study, and they're a very well respected and trusted industry advisor, and they utilized an independent call center to analyze data from the most common online real estate lead sources, and the objective was to determine the validity of leads in terms of are they providing real contact information like a name and a working phone number, etc., and do they have genuine interest in obtaining more information from an agent, right? And fortunately, the conclusion of that performance study was that Homes.com, they named Homes.com as the clear front runner in quality of leads above all other national real estate websites. So they
awesome.
determined that, it was fantastic, right? And it validated by an independent entity. So, they determined that consumers inquiring about property information on Homes.com more often provided accurate contact information, and in general, they were of higher quality than lead source from other websites in terms of their interest in being contacted by a real estate professional. So, you can look at visitor statistics and you can look at all these different things, but when you really zero it in on what are the benefits of your advertising, it's, is it generating phone calls? Is it increasing awareness of your brand? And are the leads that you're generating quality leads?
That's really good information. I had read that report, but I'm glad you reiterated it. There's a lot of other things I wanted to talk with you about. I know you guys are heavy involved in the IDEX feeds and things like that, but because we're kind of running out of time, a question, and we've interviewed other folks that are in similar positions as yours, and you guys have a very interesting, advantage in the marketplace that you can actually see the amount of incoming searches. You can actually see what people are searching for. You can actually see if there's an increased demand in certain parts of the country, as in, so this forward-looking data that you guys have the advantage of knowing, do you have any predictions for 2015, any expectations of if the market's going to slow down, adjust this way or that?
Oh, wow. Well, Homes.com does report on the top 300 markets in the U.S. as part of we have a monthly local market index report, and we have another report called the Rebound Report. Based on those reports, the most recent data from those reports show that I think it's 109 out of the top 300 markets have reported a full price recovery since the recession. So, that's very positive. Anecdotally, the feedback that we receive from our customers is that their pipeline is stronger now than it's ever been in the past, or not ever in the past, but stronger than it was earlier in the year and certainly this time last year. So I think that's a good indicator that the future looks bright. Separately from that, we deal with a lot of kind of enterprise-level customers, right? We have big franchisors that are customers of ours. We host Remax.com and ERA.com, and we're seeing increased investment from those big companies that I think indicate that they're bullish on the future and that they're getting good feedback from their franchises and their brokers and agents. So, all in all, is it ever going to get back to where it was, several years back during the boom? Probably not, but that's probably a good thing because I don't think we need these wild swings and fluctuations.
No, we don't. And, we are interviewing and we've got him coming up again, too, but the economist for Realtor.com, actually, and Jonathan Smoke, and he and I were talking about the fact that we are in what very likely is the very beginning of a 7 to 10 year, he didn't use the word boom, but I did, 7 to 10 year real estate boom. In other words, the market should continually improve. And that's interesting. Of the 300 markets you guys most closely track, that a third of them are already back to their values post-crash. That's really encouraging. I didn't know that. So, guys, Listen, Homes.com, been around forever. If you're looking to market yourselves online, definitely check them out. Go to Homes.com, and I'm sure there's very clear ways for them to go about looking at how they can market with you guys. Is there a clear path right on the Homes page, I assume, or is there another agent-specific site they should go to?
Yeah, Tim, connect.homes.com. That's our realtor professional website. Connect.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll include the link, guys. Most of you listen to our radio show in replay, so we'll include a link, and you guys can just click on that link right in the description and go from there. So, Andy, I really appreciate your time today. It was good meeting you.
Fantastic. I appreciate you having me.
Listeners, tomorrow, another great topic. Make sure you tune in. Your homework from today's radio show, it is from every radio show, and you guys have been doing it, and I really appreciate it, is share today's interview with everyone you know. Tweet it, Facebook it, do whatever it takes. Old school it. Send a link to all the agent friends that you have. Help us get the word out that we are in a real estate boom again and that you guys need to be taking full advantage of it with the mindset of being of service and realizing that this is probably the greatest market of our careers. So if there's anything we can ever be doing for you, obviously go to freecoachingcallsforagents.com, freecoachingcallsforagents.com, or just hit us up at timandjulieharris.com. In the meantime, we'll talk with all of you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, and thank you, Andy.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows, and until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.